My angel bestie, hello, hello, hello. I really felt like some of you needed this one today. I don't know. I feel like we have a little telepathy going here where it's just like, I get the comment a lot where you're like, man, I really needed this one. Like, you always read my mind. Yeah, I know. I feel like we have some weird connection going on. Something about being magnetic keeps coming up. It's been coming up a lot for me. It's been coming up a lot in my friends' lives. And I really wanted to go deeper into becoming a magnetic individual because we are aspiring soft life girlies, right? We want to channel the path of least resistance, but we still want to channel like our dream life. We don't want to choose the path that's easier just to say it's easier. We want to choose it because it's just what was meant for us, and we don't chase, we attract, right? I feel like in comparison to 2023, 2024 has been the year of me learning to be magnetic. I got a house this year, which, holy shit, we're almost done with the entire process. Like next month, we'll be closing up all loose ends and we'll be homeowners. Like, what? I mean, a year ago, I thought that I was so far from being able to have any asset, to be honest. And the universe has just continued to correct me in the most loving way. And so I hope that I can share and inspire you guys to do the same in your life, because truly we're no different. And it's like the smallest changes that I made in my mindset that had an impact on my actions, which made me a more magnetic individual. And I wanted to share those with you today. I feel like even when I'm not working as hard now, it's just like things are continuing to happen for me. I have a really big announcement for you guys. Well, I have a lot of big announcements for you guys, but when it comes to the podcast, there's something really special that's going to be happening soon, and I can't wait to share that with you. And I think that is one of the biggest examples of being magnetic and intentional. And I want to be really specific about the intentional part, because I think when people hear this whole I don't chase, I attract, they feel like entitled to things just falling into their lap. And that's not quite what it is. It's still going to take some movement on your part. I want to say movement. I'm being very specific with my words because I don't want to say effort, because it shouldn't feel like you're killing yourself to get to said goal. I'm going to help you look at what is the difference between being in the way of the things that you want and knowing you're on the path of least resistance, but this is the best possible path and it's on its way to you. It's a very distinct difference. And ultimately, when things aren't happening for you, it just means that there are some things that have to fall into place. And if you can accept that and be at peace with that, you will become magnetic to so many other things and the things you want. Really quickly though, welcome to the Because I Love You podcast. I'm Bria. Thank you so much for joining. I post every single Monday and I hope that you tune in. I really appreciate your engagement on this podcast. It really helps the girl out and it helps keep the podcast going. And like I said, there are some really exciting things in the works that I can't wait to share with you. And it's all because of your literal engagement, you showing up, you sharing the podcast, you commenting, you liking. Your watch time is probably like the most important of the things. So thank you for all of that. And I'm really excited for us to do some really cool things, maybe in person in the future, but just know that your engagement is helping us get there. So thank you so much. If you want to join our Patreon, we do some fun stuff, like we do daily steps. We are currently doing the Cook at Home challenge just to push ourselves to have more control over what's going in our bodies and getting some creative little ideas in the kitchen. So if you want to join that, that's in our paid tier on Patreon. I will put it down below. Now let's get into how you can be more of a magnetic individual. I want to start with the subconscious mind. Like, let's get so deep here, right? You have your conscious and your subconscious mind, and your conscious mind is like, I want $1 million. Okay. But your subconscious mind is more like, well, bitch, you don't have $1 million. So your subconscious mind is definitely the more jaded, logical side. Okay. The one that's a little too honest, but the one that is honest and the one that's actually in your way, because all of us obviously would want $1 million, but all of us don't have $1 million. And so what is it that's in the way? Well, if you ask your subconscious mind, a lot of us probably have money trauma. I mean, our society isn't set up for us to be wealthy individuals. A lot of us come from the mindset of scarcity, like money doesn't grow on trees. That's just the majority of the most common individual, right? So it would take a lot of effort for you to go against an idea that you were this millionaire, right? Some people can naturally just like be healthy and delusional with that kind of thought process, but some people have to work really hard. My point is, your subconscious mind has all of that baggage in it that's really dictating whether you get the $1 million or not. So my first note for you is you have to figure out what your subconscious mind wants. Now, just because you figured out what your subconscious mind wants does not mean you have to agree with what your subconscious mind wants. When I really started to do money work and go through my subconscious mind, I realized that there were just a lot of things from my childhood. Like I had a lot of limiting beliefs around making more money. So yeah, on paper, I was like, I want to make more money. But when I looked at the trajectory of my life, it didn't align with that statement. So what I'm trying to say is your subconscious thought has to align with the desire. Okay, so let's just say you want $1 million. You need to make sure that your subconscious agrees. And that's not just saying like, come on, subconscious mind, I want that $1 million. No, you have to reprogram that shit. And that's like an entire lesson for another day. But let's just give you a few easy ways that you can do that. You have to talk to your subconscious mind. You have to create actions that debunk your subconscious mind if it's not aligned with what you want, right? I'll give you an example of how I reprogrammed my subconscious mind around money. I used to have a fear around just like paying bills, looking at bills. And that's not a wealthy type of energy or vibe. You know what I mean? So I knew that like there was some resistance there. And if I had any fears around money, that was probably going to hold me back from getting more of it. So I used to make an effort to, when I would make transactions and pay bills, I would physically like smile. And I would be like, thank you, God, thank you, universe. Like send some gratitude out when I would pay a bill. And start to reprogram this idea that like bills were bad. I mean, I could do without my bills, don't get me wrong, but what I'm saying is I had to reprogram my mind to not be scared of them. So I would just do it with my chest. I started to thank God for helping me pay that bill. And over time, paying the bill did not scare me. Sometimes I revert back a little bit and I feel like I have to go back to the basics, but that's like the whole point of this stuff. It's like a muscle in the gym. You have to continue to work it over time, especially if you weren't born with these ideas and you had to reprogram it, and that's okay. So that's a whole TED Talk in itself, but ultimately I need you guys to figure out what is it that your subconscious mind is attracting, because that's what your reality is going to reflect. And you can deny it all that you want, but that is just the hard truth, is that like you have to align your deeply rooted beliefs with what you think you want on paper. And then all of a sudden it's going to come at you full speed. The thing is, if your subconscious mind is not ready, or if your subconscious mind feels it's not deserving of something, that's what you're going to see in your reality, because that's really what we're manifesting on a deeper level, right? So there are people in my life, love them to death, but they will complain about the current situation that they're in. And the second that I offer them the help, like, how can I help you? How can we get you out of the situation? They are so fixated on not finding a solution. And this is actually like a huge trigger for me. Like I can't stand being around people like this. I don't care if it's family, friends, like it really drives me crazy, because selfishly on my end, I have to hear you complain and I also have to watch you stay stuck and suffer, because like you really aren't ready for better. You really aren't ready to move on. And so I always think of these individuals as like the perfect candidate when I'm talking about the subconscious mind being in the way, because these people who constantly complain about their circumstances, like, oh, I hate my job, like, you know, this, that, and the third, or I hate my partner, or like just complaining about things that really could be in your control. If you sat down and created like a 12-step action plan, you could get out of that situation. You are not married to that situation. You could get out of it. And the second you offer them a solution, they're like, oh, well, I can't do that. No, that's too hard. That's too much. That would cost this. It's like you could offer them 50,000 different solutions and they continue to tell you why none of them will work. without even giving one of them a try. Don't be that person. That is like a physical example of somebody whose subconscious is running their life. They have allowed their subconscious mind to tell them that they aren't deserving, that it would just be too hard to get out of that situation, that having to learn a new skill or get out of a toxic situation is worse because it requires change. Right? And change is the scariest thing on earth for some people. Now, I'm not downplaying that all those things aren't scary, but I do have a rule with people like that is I don't want to hear you complain if you're not going to try to actively get yourself out of the situation or circumstance. That's how I feel. I don't care. Sue me. Once you know what your subconscious wants and you can start to reprogram that, then we can get into actually getting on the correct path, the most magnetic path. That's what we want. You're going to follow the path of ease. And how do you know if you're on the path of ease? Have you ever had one of those days where you just wake up and every single thing is just going wrong? Everything. It's like you get up, you stub your toe. You make breakfast, you drop it on your outfit. Your inbox is already flooded. It's like you're in the longest traffic you could possibly be in on your way to work. Like you spill your coffee on the way to work. It's like one thing after another. And you're just kind of like, what's going on? Like, why is this happening? I always take note of days when it's like that because I feel like that is a sign that I'm not on the path of ease. I am on the path of resisting something in my life. And the universe is so lovingly trying to like tell me, hey, slow down, park the car for a second, take a deep breath, ground yourself. It really isn't that deep. It could be like the dumbest thing that you're resisting, but it's just a good opportunity to take a break and try to figure out what are you fighting. The path of being magnetic should feel easy. It should feel natural. It should feel like you constantly have ideas for this thing. Like you're just moving towards that thing naturally, right? A path of resistance will feel like nothing is going right. It'll feel like you are constantly exhausted because you're draining your energy. When you're doing something that is fully meant for you and on the path of like the least resistance, it's going to fill your cup. It's not going to empty your cup. Now, being tired like is a natural thing, but it's like I can see it in my friends. When they're doing something that they love, it's like they light up. They talk about the thing that they love and it's just like they can't stop talking. I see it in AJ with what he does for work. He lights up when he talks about it. He's so happy. He's smiling. And I've seen him in a different environment when he worked in a corporate setting. It was like he was a shell of a person. And I can say the same for myself. I love what I do now. I can't stop talking about it. People ask me what I do. If a stranger comes up to me at the airport, I will talk their ear off about what I do. I've had to learn how to not really tell people what I do for work because I look at them and they're kind of just like, okay, bitch, I was just being nice, shut up. But I feel like you have to find the thing that lights you. And it doesn't even matter what that thing is. If you think it's great, it's great. It doesn't matter if other people think it's stupid. It just has to light you up. When you are lit up in the thing that was meant for you and you're doing like your passion, no matter what it is, you are literally making yourself a super magnet. I'm telling you, because there's nothing more magnetic than someone that is just loving life and having fun. So follow the path of ease by doing the things you love. That makes sense? Ooh, so this one, I feel like this is the one that's going to be one of the most important points in this video. Like seriously, I'm a little biased because you guys know that my mom has gone through her cancer journey. And so I've really been thinking about like disease in the body, ailments in the body. Why does this happen to some? Why doesn't this happen to others? And I'm a really big believer personally in energy. Obviously, we all have it and it's used within our bodies, but energy as it relates to emotions and what happens when we don't process emotions and we don't release emotions is they become something in our body. So I've been very, very intentional with trying to do a better job myself of releasing negative emotions because I don't want that to turn into something. I was watching this documentary called Heal, and there was a girl on there she was more of a woman. There was a woman on there who was dealing with stage 4 cancer. And, stage 4 cancer is pretty bad. The doctors were basically writing her off. Like, it's just kind of like a ticking clock at this point. Like, let's just make you comfortable. But she was more on the healthy delusional side. And she's like, well, I might as well, try to do what I can to get rid of it while I'm here. She started going to see this woman who helps people literally process their emotions who are sick and release that. And she's had like a ton of testimonials in terms of like how people have been able to heal themselves through their mind and emotions. So she'll sit there with this client and they'll recall like a time in childhood that brought up like bad emotions or traumatic experiences, like obviously some super uncomfortable shit that you probably haven't done since the event, right? And when the person doing the work gets angry or sad, they would go outside and they would just throw rocks until the person felt better. Just like throw them as hard as you could into the pond. And they just kept repeating this, trying to release the emotion through a physical act. And I just thought that was such a powerful thing because one, it's like, if this really is the sauce, right? They're never going to tell us because this shit is not profitable, right? It would just tank big pharma. I just found it to be so cool to see how something so simple and literally free was having such an impact on all these individuals. And there were multiple cases in this documentary. You can watch it yourself. It's called Heal, where people have healed themselves of like chronic diagnosis, literal death sentences where the doctors were like, you're done. Just make yourself comfortable until like death knocks on your door type of deal. And these people prove them wrong and they're considered to be like the miracle, but they're doing these unconventional things. So I really think it's worth it to just start to try to process your emotions in a way where you can release negativity through a physical act. Maybe that's going on a run. Maybe that's going to a boxing class. Maybe that's just going to throw some fucking rocks. But what could it hurt? It's not going to cost you anything to go throw rocks outside. Just make sure you don't conk anybody in the head. You would probably feel better. Think about it. If you could throw a rock as hard as you wanted into somebody who pisses you off, you wouldn't feel a little bit better. You don't got to admit it in the comments, okay? I can't bail you out of jail if you admit to something. But what I'm saying is we probably feel a little bit better if we could just throw one little rock at that manager. One little rock at that bitch who gives you the wrong look every time she looks your direction. If we could just throw a little rock at somebody lovingly, we might feel a little bit better. I used to go to a boxing class when I lived in Kansas City, and I had a manager at the time who was a pain in the ass. You better believe I pictured his face on that punching bag and I went crazy. And the benefit was my arms got freaking shredded. Okay, my arms looked so good. But at the same time, this man who was making me feel some kind of way, I was not giving him the power to continue to make me feel that way because I took my ass to the gym to release the feelings that I was getting. That frustration I would have, him making me feel like I was less than, him making me feel like I was incompetent, him skipping over me and not acknowledging me for certain things that I did, but acknowledging other people, like being overlooked. That shit messes with you, especially in a corporate setting, because it's like, oh, boo-hoo, like they're not entitled to do those things. But it sucks when it's very obvious in a corporate setting that someone's treating you differently. So what I would do is just take that out on the bag. I beat his ass on a bag, okay? And he never knew. He probably knows to this day because I did realize he kind of like stalks me. But baby, I don't give a fuck. Hope you're doing well. So get rid of those emotions. They're not serving you. And on a serious note, I don't want that shit to turn into something for you. No, we're not doing that. Another thing you're gonna do to be magnetic is you're gonna define exactly what you want and you're gonna write it down or you're gonna verbalize it as if you were telling a preschooler, a little baby preschooler. Right? There was this exercise that they made us do in school. I don't know if y'all did this, but I used to love it. It was like the cheesiest thing, but it was so effective in helping you understand how to effectively communicate. And they would ask you to make like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And so you have to like tell the class how to do it. Teacher would sit there and follow your instructions exactly as you said it. So they'll be like, okay, you get bread and put peanut butter on the bread. So like the teacher would take a piece of bread and put the whole jar of peanut butter on the piece of bread. bread. She's not wrong, right? But the whole point is the teacher is trying to make the kids be as specific as possible. So it pushes them to be like, oh, grab the loaf of bread, open the bag, take out a slice of bread, put it on the plate. Yes, I want you to define the things that you want in this life moving forward as specifically as you would if you were a preschooler. Think of that exercise and think like, okay, I need to over communicate. Because for example, a lot of people will say, hey, I want more money, but they won't be specific about it. Okay, well, here's $5 on the ground, bitch. Is that good? I mean, you said more money. You didn't say how much. So define it. When I ask for monies from the universe, I am so fucking specific with every single comma that I want. And you better believe that in some weird way, it happens because I'm not delusional, but I'm also that specific. Okay, and half of you're so scared of your own dreams that you won't even write it down or say it because you feel so crazy. But you know what? That's good. That's good that you know that about yourself because that's telling you don't think you deserve it. If you think your dreams are crazy, if you were embarrassed of your dreams, that's telling you there's some resistance there. You should be able to look at everything you want in life, every dream you want in life, and you should be able to say it with your full chest that I deserve every single thing on this paper. It doesn't matter the circumstances of where I came from. It doesn't matter what's happened to me in the past. I deserve everything that I want in this life. I don't care how unrealistic it is to the normal person. I don't want to be the normal person. You have all these people who are doing extraordinary things, right? They have to be a little bit on the wacky side. And I always encourage you guys to have that healthy bit of delusion because that's what's going to get you places. If you want to be like everybody else, if you want to stay stuck in your circumstances, then fine. Don't dream big. Be embarrassed. What is that going to do? 60 years from now, how is that going to have affected you? Who gives a fuck what people think about what you want in life? Seriously, they're just projecting that they can't do that. And it would be uncomfortable for them to do those things. So never think anything is too much. If you think it's too big, it's too big. I think that my dreams are never too big for the universe. It's only too big to my brain. Because I know that there is some billionaire out there living in Abu Dhabi who would be like, I could just give that to you right now. Somebody would laugh at my dream. So why do I think my dreams are crazy? Because I'm talking to the wrong people. That's why. Then once you've been overly specific about the things that you want, now's the fun part, right? I want you to start moving through life expecting good things to happen to you. Wake up as if like it's Christmas. You know that feeling, and I hope most of you had it. I'm sorry if you didn't have this in your childhood, but when I was little, the night before Christmas, I was geeked, okay? I was so psyched because I knew that the next morning we were gonna have fun. And it wasn't just about the presents, it was like the whole day. Christmas was just fun. And of course, when I was a little kid, like I was really spoiled, I'm gonna be honest, because I didn't have siblings for almost 10 years. So I had huge Christmases because I had all the grandparents buying me stuff. My parents were divorced at the time, so I had like 4 sets of adults buying me gifts. Like I was spoiled, okay? So the night before Christmas, like I couldn't sleep. I was geeked. And then I would wake up in the morning and I'm literally like in my room, like rocking back and forth, waiting for my mom to come get me. The whole day, I'm just like, everything is good. There's so much good happening. Like I know anyone that was coming over had a gift for me, but it's just that little childlike wonder of knowing like something good's coming. I'm so excited for it. That's what I want you to channel throughout your day. This will change your day, your life, and you'll be so surprised in the ways that you'll be blessed because it's like the smallest things will happen. Like, oh, the person in front of you just paid for your drink. Like you just never know what it is. And it's so nice to just constantly be surprised. And sometimes I'll even say this little affirmation that's like, I am open to the ways the universe wants to bless me today. And it is just so exciting to go through the day with that mindset because it will happen. It seriously will happen. And it'll be in the cutest and funnest ways if you just like open up to receive it. Another thing that's going to make you incredibly magnetic is becoming an insanely grateful person. Think about it. If you can't look at your current circumstance and be thankful for like one thing, how are you going to attract more? You're not. When you become abundantly aware of the blessings you do have in your life, you end up, without trying, multiplying them. It's physics, okay? Just trust me on this one. In my opinion, gratitude is one of the most powerful things that you could ever do. When I've been in my worst mental spaces, like when I have been down bad, I always reminded myself to try to find gratitude, try to appreciate something about this current situation, even when it felt like I couldn't find anything to be happy about. And it continually would change my reality over time. If I stuck with it, I was consistent, and I continued to fight to find the things that I was grateful for, it worked wonders. And that's a thing. I think gratitude is so important, because if you can't be grateful for what you have right now, how are you going to get more and also be grateful for that? It's like, why would the universe want to give someone more that can't see their current blessings? You know what I mean? Appreciate where you are right now. Be thankful for what you have right now. Be thankful for your current state of health. Be thankful for your current state of mind. Be thankful that even if you hate your job, that you have a job. Be thankful for the things in your life that you think you could never be grateful for, and you will change that entire situation up. I'm telling you. It's crazy, it's delusional, and sometimes it kind of makes you have a little bit of an ick, because you're like, no, like it really is that bad right now, but it's not that bad. Someone out there always has it a little bit worse, and I'm not saying your situation can't be tough, it can't be hard, but I am saying that you can get out of it if you would just take a moment to genuinely appreciate some of the things that you have right now, like food, water, a shower, functioning arms, legs, organs, eyes, whatever. You have something to be thankful for. And if you run through that before you go to sleep every night, just watch how you'll become even more grateful for other things in your life. And then you'll draw in new things to be grateful for. And I'm going to leave you with this very important last note. Once you've done these things, you can't obsess over it. Don't obsess over the things that you want to the point that you're starting to push them away. Desperation has never been hot. Think about it. If a guy really likes you most of the time, okay, like put it in the comments. What's your flavor? Okay. Do you like when someone pursues you in a very desperate way? No, is that kind of creepy? That's a little creepy, isn't it? Yeah, that's creepy. Or do you like when they're kind of cool about it? Hell, I bet some of you are toxic like me, and you like when people really seem like they don't like you, because now it's a little challenge, okay? So I've said it before, but think of the universe as like a little toxic love game here. You don't want to be desperate, okay? Play it cool. And you can't trick the universe. And if you're like, well, how do I not obsess over something that I want so bad? I get it. It's really hard. Get a life. With so much love and light, get a life. Go touch grass, go do something, go find a hobby, enjoy your life, because the more that you are having fun, the more that you are enjoying your life, you are making yourself more magnetic, because having fun makes you high vibrational. I've used this example before in the past about how when I was really struggling with my entrepreneurial journey, being self-employed, sometimes I would just go to the arcade and just have some fun for like an hour and play a bunch of games. And it was like recess for an adult. And for that hour, I was just having the time of my life, focused on playing these games, right? And I realized, man, like I really haven't let loose like this since I was a kid. My back's all sweaty. I'm gulping water like I just came in from recess. Like I'm having myself a good old time. You need to find something that allows you to like have this outlet of fun and just stop taking things so serious. You're meant to want things in this life, but you're also meant to live the life. You're not meant to just be here chasing after every single thing and continually moving the goalposts. That's not what life is about. That's a problem. You need therapy. If you are continually getting things that you want and then moving on to the next, that's not what life is about. You should be enjoying the journey to there. That's the best part. I'm telling you. The majority of your life is going to be getting to said goal. So why not enjoy it? Lean into it, enjoy every single moment, the ups, the downs, because it's all so beautiful and it's all a part of your story and your journey. And you're going to look back when you look at your accomplishments. You're not going to be like, oh, I remember when I got the diploma. Like that's such a small portion of the journey. You're going to remember the nights you were studying for the diploma that you wanted to get. You're going to remember the meltdowns you had before exams that shaped you to be more resilient. You're going to remember everything that that got you to that point. And that's the stuff that you're going to tell people when you're reflecting on the story of how you got to where you want to be. The journey, think about it. Anyone that ever gets interviewed, like that's an accomplished athlete or musician, it's the story that you're entangled in. We know that they become like some famous superstar athlete or whatever, but you're more interested in knowing like, what was it like for you growing up as a child? Like, well, what happened before the fame? This is what people want to know. Think about that in the same way with your story. I want you to start focusing on the beauty of the journey now as it is, because I'm telling you, it doesn't get better than this. It really doesn't. And anytime I've hit an accomplishment, it's always the most disappointing part. And I'm saying that like not trying to be ungrateful, but I'm saying that as like, man, you hit the goal that you want and you're like, okay, well, what now? You know? But it's like, man, this has been such a fight in a good way. And that's what I'm always really proud of. And I look back at like how it shaped me, how it changed me in a positive way. Like that's the good stuff. Okay, so don't look over that. There's no need to obsess over when something's going to happen for you and when it's going to come to you. If you want to be a magnetic person, you need to focus on having high vibe energy. So just have fun. Have fun. Go find some new hobbies. Go touch some grass. Go do acts of service. I'm telling you, you will fill your cup by doing for others and stop focusing so much on what you need. No. None of that makes you magnetic. The things that are making you magnetic are making you feel good, I promise. So do more of what makes you feel good. I feel like this has been my year of becoming so much more magnetic. Last year, I hit such a wall in becoming the least magnetic person I know. And you guys know because I had a really weird year last year. And I'm grateful for that because when you hit rock bottom, you have no choice but to go up from there. And to reiterate what I just said, my journey, even when it was at my worst point, is still the best part of my story. I wouldn't be saying I'm about to sign off on a house. I wouldn't have good news that's going to be coming to you guys soon about the podcast if it weren't for the shitty year I had last year and the journey to getting out of that hole. That was the best part of my story, and it is the best part of my story. And I'm so grateful for the accomplishments that have come since then, but I will never, ever look over the fact that the journey has been the most important part to my story. So just live your life, guys. Everything is happening for you, not to you. I promise. Just change your perspective and it will make you so magnetic. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next Monday.